And then if you want to share your screen as well. Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
I'll do it all right.
I don't know. I'm not really a tech person. I told my husband who's in IT and cybersecurity that I'm like kind of the tech person of this office. And he was like, oh, Lord, help them. Like, he's like, they're in so much trouble.
All right, here we go. Screen share is on. Let's get started, ladies and gentlemen. So this is this training today is more of a more workshop based. So everybody grab the materials that we had set out there for you. So this guide to setting goals, you want to kick 2022 in the butt. Normally you do this, in October, November, December, you're setting goals for the year. Most people don't take time out in the middle of the year to see where they are. So we're gonna focus on the next 6 months, not our annual, 3-year, 5-year big time goals. But this guide is here for you guys, so I can send it to anybody. Just shoot me an email and I'll send you a copy of all the materials from today that we're going through. So this is basically talking about when you have goals, you have to break it down. And in order to have a 1-year goal that you work towards on a frequent and consistent basis, you need to have something that motivates you, your big why. So that's where we get into talking about what is it that you want to achieve in life. And that's your someday goal. You have your 5-year, long-term, your 3-year, and then you break that down to like each year, your 1-year goal should be working towards those big plans you have in life. And so you set your long-term goals, and then you use the GPS, which we're going to go through today in kind of a workshop format. That's your business plan. That's your lead generation strategies that are going to allow you to hit that goal you have for the year. We're going to talk briefly about the 411 and where you can find that. A lot of you are familiar with that because we talk about it in coaching. So we'll get into the 411, where you can find it electronically and tools you can use. Combining that with one of my favorite books, the 12-week year. Who thinks that having a goal that you can achieve in 90 days is easier than focusing on something that's a year away?
Yeah.
Will most of you agree? Yeah. So the 12-week year focuses just on that. It's 90-day cycles. Now, interestingly, who here knows how many days it takes of daily activity, lead gen, prospecting, and working on your business? About how long does it take to actually get transactions into your pipeline?
90 days.
90 days. Amazingly, it's so funny. Drew and I sat down last year. We talked about my goals. I mentioned the 12-week year, and I had a goal, and this was like in November, and I had December, January, and February to hit some, or I'm sorry, we started talking November, December. I got focused. I had January, February, March before I went on vacation in April, and I had a goal, and I focused for those 90 days. And I went on vacation with transactions, came back from vacation with transactions. And so that 90-day increment breaks it down. So if everybody plugs in today and does the activities for the next 90 days, you'll have business, any business you already had trickling in for those of you that are established, but you'll have more business coming into your pipeline, and you'll go into the fall with business and with activity. So we're going to talk about that today, and then time blocking your calendar to make sure it works. Separately, creating a task list. These are the least important things you need to be doing. So when you're creating your big goals, you should be doing the things that are achieving your goals first. And then step 4 is to have a notebook. I carry around my bold notebook all the time. And anytime something pops up in my head, I write it down so that I kind of like, oh, that's a great lead gen idea. So I have them all in one place so I can go back and reference it. So this is an introduction to your big one thing goal setting. We're going to focus on the activities today, not going through the whole presentation here. So I'm going to skip forward to the GPS, and we're going to talk about setting your goal and thinking. So who here would like to share a big life goal they have? Anyone?
Big what?
A big life goal that you have? Does anybody here have like something they'd like to do in 3-5 years, sometime in their life that,
Bring my whole family to Vietnam.
okay, so Shane said he wants to take his whole family to Vietnam
So they meet their great grandparents.
to meet their great grandparents. So that's a pretty neat trip and plan. Is that's going to,
$2,000 it costs.
how many people in the family?
7.
7 people,
I was gonna bring her mom and dad, so it'd be 9 total
9. So you want to take 9 people on a trip to Vietnam
for 2 weeks.
for 2 weeks. And you said it would cost about,
Between 10 and 15,000.
that's probably just to take them, right?
Mhm.
That's just for airfare.
No,
That-
They have family there, so once we get there, it won't be that much expensive.
And when do you want to do that by?
Not 3 years.
All right, so you've got a 3-year goal that you're working towards. Does it help when you get up every day knowing that there's something that you're trying to achieve? For me, it was the 1-year goal, and then I broke it down to 90 days because it was right around the corner, was going to Spain with my wife. We've been planning to go, pandemic hit, finally had it on the calendar, and I was like, I don't want to come back from Spain and have an empty bank account and no activity. So that was my, short term. It was a 1-year goal that became 90 days before of really cranking towards it. So somebody else here, anybody else got any dreams, goals, visions, special car you want to drive, a big house you want to live in?
I'm gonna buy a beach house.
Jay wants to buy a beach house. Who here would raise your hands would like to have a beach house?
I'll go with the Jake.
Who would think it'd be pretty cool that anytime you want, you could invite yourself or your family to go stay in your beach house that you rent out about half the year, and any other time you want, you or your family or your friends or your clients could go use your VIP clients could go use your beach house. That'd be pretty cool, right? So would it be fair to say that if you want to have that beach house, you have to have a plan to achieve it? Or can you just dip into your bank account anytime you want and just buy one?
No, you gotta have a plan, for sure.
Right.
You can do that. You should be my best friend, please.
So-
If I can do that.
All right, so on Zoom here, we got a few people. Anybody on Zoom have any big plans for the future?
Probably one of mine is to make sure my children are like financially set for the future, like college, paid for, all of that. So I would want to be able to put enough money into savings for them.
All right, great. So, having your kids' college taken care of for people that never went to college, or for people who struggled to pay their student loans, do you think that can, one of their big whys might be, I'd love for my kids to be able to just go to college and me not worry about how it's being paid for. So that takes some planning and that takes some incentive, and you need to have a system in place. Now I'm going to talk about one of someone's goals. Now that could be short, long term. It's kind of over the next few years, but there's someone on the Zoom call, Musina. Feel free to come on and stop me at any time because I'm talking about you, Musina. When I met her, she was coming to script practice every day. And she said she was waking up at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and she had left the banking industry. And she said, I never want to have to go work for someone else again. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to be in that whatever it was. She was so motivated. She was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be successful. A year later, Messina's crushing it. She had a big why. Then I just talked to her recently in the last week, and she still pushes every day and she's still crushing it. She's working hard. And she said, you know what? I have 2 kids in college. I got to pay for that. So she's got an immediate right now big why that's pushing her to always get up every day and grind no matter what. And thank you, Messina, for letting me share that. And so somebody else, one more person, somebody else, there's got to be something that you want in life. Anyone? Bueller?
I want to buy my first home.
You want that's a big goal, right? Like, and it's not inexpensive and it takes some planning. And when do you want to buy it by?
Very soon.
Mhm.
Very soon, as in probably in the next few months or so.
Okay, so you have a short-term goal to buy a home, and then what about down the road? Is there any plans down the road?
I'd like to buy my mom a house. That's a very long-term goal.
Yeah, no, so that's a someday goal,
Yeah,
not necessarily 5-year, right?
yeah, not 5 years.
But that, it could be, once you start working towards it,
Yeah.
it could end up being in 5 years, you just surprise yourself.
For sure.
So, buying a house for your parents. So I'll share mine and then I want to hear from one other person and then we'll move on. One of my goals is to have a vacation property in a Latin speaking country. So part of that is and that's 5 years from now. It's a property that I can take my family to for, like you were talking about going to Vietnam. I want to have a property that I can rent out. And then I can take my family and have them all come down. They can use periodically and that my wife and I can ultimately semi-retire to. So that, that's my 5-year goal. That's the thing that's motivating me right now. I want to hear from one other person, Drew Swirsky.
I have a bunch.
Give me one thing that really was a why for you that motivated you to push through.
So was my son had to have heart surgery and insurance wouldn't cover it all.
So Drew said his son had to have heart surgery and his insurance wouldn't cover it all.
So
So
I didn't want him to have any debt from medical expenses.
So he wanted to make sure his son got through all those surgeries, all the bills were paid. His son didn't have to take on any future debt for that. Or Drew.
$76,285.78.
And Drew knows exactly how much it was, like $76,000 plus change. So,
Wow.
and how long did it take you to make that money once you
A
decided?
year. Once I found out what it was gonna be, I just focused, less than a year.
So he would, aside from all the other things that he has to pay for and his daily expenses and bills and driving that nice Jag, he also paid 76 grand to his son's medical bills. So, would you say that's a motivator?
Yeah.
All right. So think about long-term goals. And I want you to give that some thought. Take this guide. You've got copies of it for you guys on Zoom. I'll send you a copy. Think about what is it that you really want in life and think big for your someday goal. My 5-year goal is that vacation property. I want to be able to, have that to use, not when I'm 80, but to use in my late 50s. All right. And then let's talk about 1-year goal. So could a few of you share with me, what was your 1-year goal this year? Who had a goal for the year in January, or if you planned early, October, November, December, you said, this is my goal for the year. Jay, what was your goal?
President's Club.
President's Club. So corporate America and sales companies, sales organizations, they typically have things called like President's Club or Diamond Club or something, and it's a level you reach for success, and there's usually a bunch of criteria you have to meet to achieve it. So Jay, for President's Club, what did you have to do?
25 million in 1 year.
25 million in 1 year to hit President's Club. So thinking from real estate terms, if you do 25 million in 1 year, that's a pretty good year, right? Is that a good year in mortgage terms?
Yeah, very.
Yeah. So how are you doing towards that?
Like I almost hit it the last 2 years, but like it's a little slower this year, but I'm kind of on track.
So
Just a little teeny bit, little bit.
where would you say you are though, roughly? Like,
Year to date,
yeah.
10.
So you're at 10, so you're about 15 off, right? Okay, so and that's how a lot of us end up. We get kind of behind on our goals and then we just kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to hit it this year anyway. And sometimes you can lose some wind in your sails. So the idea here today is like, let's reinvigorate ourselves, refocus. So your goal is no longer 25 million really for the next 6 months. It's 15 million, right?
Right.
Well, 15 million is a little easier to,
It's actually the next
Focus.
5. You gotta get it written before.
well, yeah, you got 5 months, but so that's, that's 3 million a month.
Yep.
All right. So Jay needs help with his goals, guys. 3 million a month. All right. So ultimately think about what is it that your goal is for the rest of the year. And then let's start breaking down this activity towards that goal.
I have a
So,
question.
yes.
So these are like all like chains, like someday goal, 5-year-old goal, or 1-year-old. Your 1-year goal might not have to do anything with your 5-year goal. And then, so that's why you're starting with 1 year.
Interestingly, well, no, because we're doing this exercise today for the rest of 2022. But the purpose of this is so that you can,
2020, yeah, makes sense.
so then you
Yeah.
can think about as you go into 2023, do my goals align with where I want to be in life? Right now, the focus is to hit whatever your goal was for 2022 and just push towards getting there. But as you plan your life out in this exercise, you start with your really long-term goals, because what you do this year either moves you towards or away from those long-term goals. If you get into more debt and you make less money, you're getting further away from something else you want in life. If you make more money and become financially free over the next few years, you get closer to the goals you're trying to, whatever those goals are for
Yeah,
you.
that makes sense.
Today, we're
Not focused on
focusing-
2020.
Today, we're focusing on 2022 to end the year strong, because you've got about 90 days to really push hard to finish the year with closings, September, October, November, December. You've got 4 really right now. I mean, if you can get some closings in August as well, if you're pushing. So it's not too late to have August. We've had some that we've put under contract and close in 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm like, we're seeing closings like suddenly pop up in the same month. And so you still have opportunity to move forward. So anyone else here had a goal for the year when they started? We have quite a few real estate agents that were here at the beginning of the year. Did anybody have a goal?
12 million sales.
12 million. Okay, that's a great goal. And what'd you do last year, if you don't mind sharing?
A little over 7, I believe.
Okay, so again, really good year. And so 12 million is definitely a stretch from 7, right? I mean, how do you feel like you're tracking right now?
I would say I am 1/3 of the way through, so I'm a little behind.
Low, okay.
Yeah.
So you have 2 choices. You could say, well, I'm already behind. Let me just reduce my goal. I had a conversation with my coach a week or 2 ago and a couple of weeks ago at the beginning of July, and he said, that's not happening. Your goal is your goal, and you're going to hit your goal. And suddenly my whole life has changed in July because I've flipped everything. So you still have time to do that. It's going to take extra work though, right?
Right, yeah.
So that's the idea of today, is to think about what do you need to do for the next day, the next week, the next month, the next 90 days to be on track to like hit your goal. And that's where the 12-week year really comes in. So this is a great book to help you focus on that shorter term activity. And they say people that do this in 90-day increments typically can achieve more in 90 days. And a lot of people end up achieving for the whole year, because the year is so far out, and 90 days refocus you. And we'll talk a little bit about strategies with that. So monthly goal, again, back to Sarah's question, your monthly goal should tie into the things that you do each month, should be your big, specific, measurable goals that lead to hitting that 1-year goal. So everything that you do in July, August, September, October, November should be leading towards finishing the year strong for 2022. So when you think about that, think about your monthly goals. And so can someone give me an example of what could be a monthly goal for August that would help you towards your 1-year goal?
Contacts,
Making contacts, right?
how many?
So who here consistently every day makes their contacts on a daily basis? Okay, so a few people raise their hands. It's hard to do every day. That goes back to your why. You have to have a reason that you're doing it.
There's a lot
Now,
of pressure.
Sarah raised her hand. Well, you know what's different about Sarah from, I won't say, I don't know what you were doing 3-4 months ago, but Sarah was on our $1 Million Club in June. Congratulations. Along with Rachel, who's sitting right next to her. And well, you know what? I see Sarah and Rachel in here every day and working and making contacts and reaching out to people. So activity does lead to results. And, so making those daily contacts, you could have a goal that I'm going to speak to 5 people a day, 10 people a day, whatever that goal is. Make that a goal, stick to it. And at the end of the week, hold yourself accountable to it. We'll talk a little bit more about accountability too. with the 411, and also in the book, The 12-Week Year, they talk about the WHAM meeting. That's once a week. It's called your weekly accountability meeting. It can be 15 minutes with your accountability partner, your coach, your spouse, your friend. But every week you spend 15 minutes talking about what was my goal for the week and how did I do? And then each week you're holding yourself accountable with a quick weekly accountability meeting. I'm going to show you a tool in here that allows you to do that. So then we break it down to weekly. Weekly are the actual activities. I have a goal to make 50 contacts this week. I want to make sure I achieve that. That's 10 a day. Each week you check it off. How did you do? Did you get your 10? Did you get your 10? The people who really chase their goals and hit their goals are the ones who say, well, it's Thursday and I'm only at 10 contacts, and they make 20 on Thursday to get caught up. You know, they do the extra work. So think about that as opposed to like, oh, well, I'll just get to it next week. If you want to hit your goals, you've got to stay consistent and put the effort in. And then your daily goal. So each day when you wake up, what's your routine like? What are your goals? What does your business plan look like? And then your right now goal. And that's literally like right this moment when you walk into the office or wherever you work from during the day, and it's 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whatever time you start your day. What is it you need to do right now? What is the number one thing? For me this week, it was following up with people I met at open house, following up with potential hot and warm leads that I need to reconnect with, and then making my contact. So that one thing was I wanted to make sure I connected with these people I met at the open house. So everything I did first on Monday was based on trying to get a client from those activities. So you've got to have the right now, the daily and the weekly goals that are based on lead generation activities that lead you towards your goals. So this is something for you guys to do, and I'll send you copies of this, but I want you to work on thinking about you can do personal and business. For today, we're focusing on business just because it's to finish 2022 strong on your business goals. This gives you an exercise where you kind of work through kind of what your goals might be. And then as you get down here, we get into the GPS. So this is where I want everybody in the room and everybody on Zoom to think about what is your goal for the rest of this year. Forget if you're nowhere close or whatever, you don't necessarily have to say, well, my goal at the beginning of the year was X, now I'm here. It's what do you want to do to have a successful next 6 months? And so what is that goal for you? And could a couple of you share what your goal is
For the rest of the year,
for the rest of the year?
sell 3 houses.
Okay, so Brock wants to sell 3 houses. Anybody else? What's their goal for the rest? Brock's brand new, by the way, so he's coming out of the gate strong, chugging along. Now, what happens if Brock actually ends up selling 6 houses? Is that a bad thing?
He's gonna wait, he passed, he did.
He's already out of coaching and he's off to like making, more money and he's successful. It's not a bad thing, right? Someone else, what's your goal that you know of for the rest of the 6 months? What do you need to do? It could be units, it could be income.
Who had a number goal for the year? What was your number goal for the year?
26 units.
Okay. And where are you?
Not there.
Don't be embarrassed. We all go through this.
Yeah, so, 5.
Okay. So here's the delta.
Yeah.
What was your goal?
12 million.
12, and you're at 4? You said 1/3, so
Like
5,
3.5.
3.5. Okay. So, right, this is what you should be focusing on. Now, if you don't hit it, that's okay. But if you lose focus of what your goal was, so this was, let me just put transaction and that was mil, just so you know. If you lose sight of your goal just to adjust for the rest of the year, then you're going to kick yourself at the end of the year. Now, if you go full blast between now and the rest of the year and you finish with 10, you'll be happy,
Yeah.
right? If you go full blast for the rest of the year and let's say you finish, with 8 million, which is more than you've done, right? You'll be happy. Don't lose sight of this when you guys start working on the GPS. The way is, it doesn't matter what the goal is. We're going to help you with the priorities and the strategies to get there, right? So don't lose sight of the goal, right? Listen, I had a goal one time of like, I was gonna do 100 deals. Help Drew sell 100 was my hashtag, right? I did 84 homes. You think I was mad at myself at the end of the year?
No,
So look at it that way, please. Sorry, Jeff.
no worries.
Don't change your
this
goal
is-
because something got in the way. Change the way you get to your goal.
I think that's really good for me personally, when I'm like goals, usually a big goal setter at the beginning of each year. And I'll set like 5 categories of goals, my personal goals, my health goals, my work goals, my finance goals, and I think my like personal, like time, spiritual goals, exactly. And for so many years, like, around this time of year, like June or July, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. That's okay, I'll start again next year. And that's what I told myself was like, in January, I'll reset and that's okay. I never really had the mindset of like, no, I'm gonna continue to power through,
You know
even
who,
if I don't make it.
oh God. You know who started this whole, like reset your goals in January? The people that own gyms.
Yeah.
Okay, why does your goal have to be based on the beginning of the year on a calendar,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't matter. The gym people did that because their membership goes up and then nobody goes in March and then they're getting free money the rest of the year. They sign you for a freaking year, right? So who's going to do that? Don't reset your goals, reset the way you get there. We take what got you to your 5 transactions and we figure out how to make it get you to the rest. That's what the GPS does. It's GPS is like, hey, what do you put when you want to go somewhere? You put it in your GPS.
It's
right.
It's a map.
Yeah, it's a map. It's a mapping system. So same thing, but this is goals, priorities, and strategies to get where you need to go. You don't own a gym. Your goals don't reset at the end of the year, right? It's a consistent thing. You can use a date if you want, but go monthly, weekly, right? And yearly, 4-1-1, 4 weeks, 1 month, 1 year. Do it backwards. Sorry, Jeff.
Drew, this is actually Jeff and Drew's class, but Drew was dressed much better than me today and he didn't want to make me feel bad. So he's standing to the side and not trying to be on camera too much. But thank you, Drew.
Yeah, you can erase that. I'm sorry.
No.
Our goals don't change. The way we get there changes.
Does everyone
That's
understand what
we're
that
here for.
means?
If you need help, I'm sorry, Jeff. If you need help to figure out the way to get there, talk to one of us.
The path.
Sorry, I'm gonna zip it. I get passionate about.
No, this is open forum workshop. This is, you add a lot of value to everybody. You have people right now. I just looked at last month's production report. Drew Swirsky, congratulations. You have 5 people on the $1 million plus club that were in your coaching program a year ago.
Thank you.
5 people. You've created a culture in this office of people being successful that come in, plug in, do the activities. And Drew will tell you, it's all about lead gen. When you're brand new, you're doing your training. We have one brand new person in the room right here who he's doing the trainings and he's out hustling, showing houses and, said, oh, well, I'll take an open house. It's like, so he actually went and shadowed on Saturday so he could do his first one on a Sunday by himself. And then he had open house the next weekend and he's looking for the next weekend and he's already like reaching out to people and he's showing rentals and he's doing the activities. That'll lead to results. So you don't want to always be in training mode where you're just trying to learn how to be the best realtor you can be. Where you become the best realtor you can be is when you get out and actually in the field and do the activities. All right. Yes, listen to Drew Swirsky.
Where'd that come from? I couldn't see you behind the wall.
So the Druism, what's really like that, the SOI is, he will always preach, he will always say to you, take care of yourself. Yes, and you don't think it's gonna work out, but you don't think it's gonna pay off, but it does.
Well, interestingly, we're gonna dig into that here in a couple minutes. So you come up with your GPS, that's your goal for the year. All right, so everybody work on that, think about it. Next week, Delara has lead gen class. That's where you're gonna really dig in and look at, here's the activities that I can do. And you can think about it between now and Delara's class to really hone in your GPS. The priorities are the 3 strategies. The three priorities are the lead gen activities. These are the I'm doing open houses. I'm doing SOI 36 touch at a high level, and I'm doing neighborhood farming. Whatever that is for you, those are your big bucket items of how you're going to get business. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my problem with goal setting is like, in order to get to my 1 year goal, I need dollar amount per month. Like I need to figure out my dollar amount, not my transaction amount.
That's okay. There's
So
a,
they invented this really cool thing called a calculator. So what you do is you say, for 1 year, I want to do 10 million in 1 year, then you go on the calculator and put divided by 12. And that's your goal. Okay, and then if you need to break it down even further, then you divide it by your average sale price, right? I know your average sale price. Do you know your average sale price?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
It's 387.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
average sale price times that times, and how do you get
Oh,
to your
okay,
number,
okay,
right?
I got it.
yeah. So new people don't have an average sales price yet. My recommendation is to use about 400K in today's 350 to
Don't go by
400.
The office, but the office is higher now. The office.
We're at five
average sale
something, right?
price is 541. Now, it was 410 2 years ago. So our average sale price has gone up.
Mine last year was 510. So 500K average sales price. If you're new, you might use 300 to 400 for the rest of this year because a lot of times you're working with first time home buyers, looking at condos. So you pick the number that works for you. The number of transactions. So Brock, if that's 500K times 3, that's 1.5 million. There's your number. Now monthly to hit 1.5 million, you figure out I got 5 months of closings left for the year. 1.5 million divided by 5 is what?
And that's exactly what John will do. John, like, you know your average sale price?
I believe it's low, 500.
So 500, you want to get to 9 million, you got to do 3 transactions a month for the rest of the year,
3 times 5 is,
right? So 3 times 5, you need 50, we need to get you probably 16, let's go up. We need to get you 16 deals between now and the end of the year for you to hit that 12 million. Is that doable? Yeah, it's 3 a month. Right? That's 3 a month. That's 2 open houses a month for the rest of the year.
all right. So think about how are you doing your lead generation? So are you doing open houses? Are you making your phone calls, reaching out to your sphere? What are you doing activity wise? And then the strategies are the 5 strategies. So in your GPS, they call it a 1-3-5. 1 goal for the year, 3 priorities, which are your legs of your business, your lead gen main funnels, which is, again, for most people, SOI, open house, farming a neighborhood. It could be like networking, like I'm a big networker. You know, what are some other ones, Drew, that could be?
It depends on who you are. Expired, for sale by owners, advertising, social media. You said farming already?
Yep. Any of those could be one of your 3 strategies. The key is you've got to commit to that 100%. So as my good friend Dan Rochon would always say, whatever it is that you decide to do it on steroids. Don't dabble in 5, 10, 15 different things. Pick 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things, and double down, do it on steroids and make the activity happen. So the strategies, and let's use open house. So strategy number 1, okay, every week my priority is to do, for the rest of the year, I want to do 2 open houses. We've got, including this month, we've got 6 months left. That's 12 open houses. Your goal could be 3 open houses. It could be 4 per month.
Wouldn't, I mean, I guess how many people you want to get, wouldn't a better priority, how many buyers you want to get out of an open house? Would that be a?
Well, that could be later down the list, but your priority has to be a number.
Mhm.
So what Jeff's saying is, and for me, my GPS for the rest of the year would be how many open houses I'm going to do between now and the end of the year, not on a weekly or a monthly. So I would say you've got 5 solid months left to get business in 2022. So that's 4 weeks, that's 20 weeks. You want to do 1 a week, you say you're going to do 20 open houses. You don't want to do 1 every weekend, you say 15. But so priority open house, and then strategy 1 would be how many between now and the end of the year.
So you have your open house, then you have your numbers. So the strategy is I'm going to get, like every week, I'm going to start looking and find that open house. I'm going to get X number of open houses. Strategy number 2 is I'm going to do market research and know 5, 6, 7 homes all around there and try to preview them. So that could be strategy. These are examples. Strategy number 3 is I'm going to door knock 40 doors every time I do an open house. So I'm going to put together a flyer, a handout, and I'm going to try to have value when I go talk to those people. And then strategy number 4 is I'm going to have a really good system for getting people to sign in and make it an open house event that people are enjoying and having fun at. And I'm getting contact info. And then strategy number 5 could be I'm going to implement, which is what I did this week after my open houses. I'm going to implement a 8-touch open house follow-up system. And with those 8 touches, they got a text, thanks for coming. They got an email with the buyer guide, my summer 2022 buyer guide. Then they got another message, hey, did you get the buyer guide? And then I followed up with a phone call. And then I said, oh, by the way, I'll also be sending you a market report. And then I sent market reports for the neighborhood they were looking at, and then the general area. And then I asked them, do you have a neighborhood specifically that you want to look at as well? Just send me your address. And so that's all in the first week. Then followed up with a phone call. Hey, did you receive? They don't want to answer, you text them. That's how you turn an open house into something. So we did fortune in the follow-up. We did open house training. We've done, all different trainings to help you guys become better at real estate. For those of you that have been doing it, whatever it is that you do, come up with a strategy. The difference is now, every time you do an open house, you don't get to say, well, I don't have time to, it's too hot, it's rain, I don't want to door knock this one. If you know it's going to be raining on Saturday, you go Thursday afternoon and you door knock Thursday afternoon. If you know it's going to be super hot, 100 degrees outside, you don't want to be wearing your suit, John, and showing up like an hour before the open house, 2 hours door knocking at 100-degree humidity. You want to, so you go do that at 9 o'clock in the morning, go home and change, and then come back to the open house. So
An umbrella works for both, by the way. Rain and sun.
So
Yeah, if you're out in the rain, somebody's gonna say, damn, he's serious,
Yeah,
she's
they're like,
serious, I need her to sell my
What
house.
do they want?
all right, so you guys get the idea on this, right?
Yeah, to
Okay.
stay consistent.
Pick your 3 priorities. That's your 1, 3, 5. So you've got your goal, your 3 priorities of how you're going to achieve that goal, and then put your strategies into place of how you're going to do that priority at a high level. So you get results from it. You get, I met 6 unrepresented buyers this past weekend and got contact info. I've heard from 2 of them so far. Like, I'm working on the next steps. So
So there must be something about the magical 3, because KW and all the trainings, they always say 3 priorities. Because like sometimes like I think to myself, well, I'm still learning. I mean, like if I focus on 2 and I do it the best, then I should get results like Sapphire and like social media.
that's actually true.
It is.
It's just you
true.
don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. If you only have one system and that system kind of like open houses, if all you want to do was open houses last year, would it be fair to say they were pretty hard to get? Houses were selling the same weekend, sometimes before the weekend. So if your only strategy was open houses last year,
Yeah, that was.
you might not have hit your goals. My first year in business, now social media can be part of your SOI strategy. It can also be part of your open house strategy. Social media could also be a strategy like by its, a priority by itself. So social media could be, because I'm going to advertise, I'm going to market, I'm going to do videos, then it becomes a priority with a bunch of strategies under social media.
One of your priorities could be training. Doesn't have to be lead gen. It could be training. So, and then your strategy could be get better at listings, get better at buyer presentation, get better at contract writing.
Script practice,
Script practice.
with a
It's about
partner
craft,
every
it's not
day.
Necessarily about lead gen.
Gary
You know,
Keller
one of
talks
my
about, that's,
Priorities, I'm sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah, he talks about one of the things we have to do as an agent is script practice daily. We need to master our profession. So, that could be because I'm not comfortable talking to people and I have a fear of going out and converting. I need to do script practice and objection handling. There,
So then
so-
I've been doing my 3, because I've been coming to trainings and I got better
Well,
at
you-
the
you-
listing person.
So show me your GPS. Right.
yeah, was that your goal? All right.
No, my goal was like to comfortably.
So we'll do a GPS together.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, let's talk about the 411 because this is where you execute the strategies up here. So you've got your strategies, well, you still got to do the activity. It sounds great. Like I've got this whole plan. This GPS is your business plan. This is my lead gen business plan to hit my goal for the rest of the year. However, strategy minus execution equals failure. Strategy and execution equals success. So you've got to execute on a daily, weekly basis. That's why you need to have a big why that's important. So let me show you. I'm gonna share a different screen here. I'm gonna show, some of you have seen this. Well, let's do this one while I've got it up.
It looks like there's one thing in the chat.
I'll check that in a minute. All right, first I'm gonna share a calendar. So one of the things you're going to want to do is time block your calendar so that you're doing your GPS activities every day. These green activities, so you can break your calendar down what works for you. For me, anything is green is money-making activities. If I'm showing houses on a Saturday, that's green. If I'm going to a training class, that's red. That's a meeting, but it's not necessarily a money-making. I have training classes that I know are important that will help me make money like this. That might be green, but like your regular, just everyday training, I might have in red or a different color. Purple or like, might be client meetings. Blue are my fitness, like that's my personal. Yellow is my family. And you want to have a time block calendar where you should have money-making activities on there every day. Now, the difference between people who hit their goals and don't achieve their goals is the ones that actually put it on the calendar, time block it, and then guard that time like nobody's business. You should be in that money-making activity, all in, 100% focused and driven to achieve whatever it is that you're in that moment. If you're with buyers and you're out showing houses and you're trying to build that connection and get one of them under contract, you should be 100% focused on that buyer while you're with that buyer. If you're on the phone making calls, you should not be checking your email, going on to Facebook, unless you're going on to Facebook to look up the person's profile before you make the call. So you've got to stay away from like getting distracted and not being focused. So use time blocking with the calendar, color code it. We can help you with that. If you're not familiar with how to do that on calendars. So we get all these training classes and it's like, great. Oh, I'm going to go to this training, this training, this training, this training. All of a sudden it's like, okay, when did I actually do my important lead generation activities? And you realize a lot of times I was at a training class and I didn't do them. All right, so let's look at the 411.
I don't think you're sharing your screen.
I'm getting ready. Yeah, I'm getting ready to share it. I think it's this one. All right, so when you go into KW Connect, and then you check on training and go to Keller Williams University. So KW Connect, training, Keller Williams University. Down on the bottom right, you'll see, let me just do it. And then you come down here, there's the 411 productivity tool. And this is an online version. There's tips down below. It gives you some examples of how to use it the most effectively. There's some Q&A. You pull this up. And I'm going to go back to when I was hyper focused here. You pull this up, you plug in your goals for the year, for the month. Let's actually see. And then you plug in your weekly goals. Now I didn't hit all my monthly goals, but you can see I was plugging away. And then this was right before I went on vacation and I completely got off track because I was leaving out of the country. But before that, I was super focused. I was really trying to hit all my activities. No excuse. I was focused on wrapping up things before I left. And ultimately I had a pretty good April after March. But then I came back in April and I wasn't as focused on my 411. And I watched my business. That's that up and down cycle. This is a way for you to every week have the activities that you're doing that you said you were going to do on your GPS. tied into your monthly goal. What is your goal for that month? I'm going to hold 3 open houses. It's got to be specific, measurable, and trackable. So this tool allows you to put this into place. Then your weekly accountability meeting is, what did I hit? And can I check these off? A good week is when you've checked off everything. A pretty good week, a great week is when you check off everything. A good week is when you check off 8 out of, 80%. 4 out of 5 items are checked off. You had a good week. Anything less than that, you need to reevaluate what was stopping you and holding you back and blocking you from getting your activities done for the week. So this is week 1, week 2, week 3. You do 1 week at a time. You plan out 1 month at a time, and you plan out 1 week at a time, and then you build each week on, so the true goal getter achievers say, I didn't get an open house first week, but I said I was going to do 4. So week 2, they're trying to find 2 open houses. The person who said I was going to make 50 contacts week 1 and I only made 40. The person who really wants to hit their goal doesn't say, well, I'm just going to do 50 next week. I'm going to do 60 next week to make up. I said I was going to door knock, as Brock was doing. I was going to door knock 45 doors, and I only door knocked 30. Well, next week you knock your 45 plus you take another 15, go somewhere and hit those 15. That's how you that's how you stay on track to that big goal. If you let yourself say it's okay, I'll get to it next week, you'll end up at the end of the year way below where you want to be. So the 411 is that 4 weeks to 1 month to hitting your big 1 year goal.
If I can share something like practical that's helped me. So Drew, Jeff, and I, and Van, we were like having these staff meetings, and we were setting our weekly goals and holding each other accountable. It was going great. And I found myself saying like a couple of times, like, yeah, I said I was going to do 25 care calls. I did 10 or I did 15. And I always had a good excuse, right? Because I'm legitimately busy. And I'm like, this happened, this came up, this came up, this came up. And it was probably Drew that said, well, are you protecting your calendar and are you protecting your time? No, obviously I'm not. So what I ended up doing, because that was not working for me, it was good, but it wasn't where I needed it to be. It wasn't great. So what I'm like a person that needs to physically check things off of a list. So what I did was like, I made a daily checklist for myself. And I printed, like I went into Word and I put in the things that I have to do every single day, like check my emails and check all my voicemails and check and set up, the office schedule. Whatever. There's things that I have to do every single day. So I put the things that I have to do every single day on that checklist. And then at the bottom, I have like blank lines for the things that come up that I wasn't necessarily anticipating having to do. And you'll see me throughout the day if you come by my desk, highlighting the things that I finished. It doesn't mean that that'll work for everybody, but for me, having that physical checklist in front of my face every single day, like it made sure that I was doing my weekly goals, because if I put my weekly goals there, I got busy, things happened. But if I put my daily goals are obviously much smaller chunks of the weekly goal. And it made it a lot more obtainable for me. Like it felt more obtainable for me.
Right. And so remember when we talked at the beginning, so you have your weekly goals. Separately, you have your checklist. The 411 should be the things that make you money. So when you do the 411, you're putting on there the activities that are going to lead to success in your goals. Your checklist will be a separate, like these are things I just know I need to get done. But you don't work on that until you've done your daily activities that are lead generating, money making activities. This is the time of year to really buckle down and make sure that you have a strong finish. And there's a lot of agents on vacation. There's a lot of people, just kind of hanging out. And we have the opportunity in the summertime to just take advantage of that. And when someone walks into an open house and waves their hand, I'm standing there to meet them and greet them because I'm not taking the weekends off. And that's what you guys, need to be thinking about is what am I going to do and go hard at to hit my goals for the rest of the year. So I want to show you guys this in Command. When you go to, if you click on this KW, let me share my screen. Sorry. Okay, in Command, when you click on KW right here, it actually tells you what these categories are. You come down to reports. It's the 3 lines, like the graphs. You go to goals. And then and it actually shows you what your goal is and actual goals versus actual. So you need to use your opportunity. We're not getting into training today, but you use your opportunities, you fill in all the details of what you expect that transaction price to be. They're approved for 550, so we're going to put 550. Average commission on a buyer is 2.5%. So when you fill all those numbers in, it actually keeps track of this in your goal tracker. And so then you go into goal settings, and it actually walks you through how to set your goals. So this is the year. So you guys come in here and put your goals in here in command, put your goal for the rest of the year, whether it's 9 million for the rest of the year, because you haven't done it before. You don't need to put 50, whatever it is for the rest of this year, hit that goal, put it in. It could be your goal for the total year, or you could focus on just the 6 months of what your goal is. And so 9 million, John, 9 million, 9 million, 9 million.
We have a 2-minute commercial break because Missy has been running around all day and she brought us lunch, so we just want to love on her a bit.
Thank you. That was necessary, but, so I'm Shannon with Universal Title. We're your.
You want to come up here so the Zoom people can see you?
Gotta be front and center. Don't be shy.
Hi there, I'm Shannon with Universal Title. I'm your partner title company. I'm across the hall, available for you anytime. Just to let you know, we also do the same goal setting strategies, and I have to fill out my 411. And if I don't do it by 8:30 a.m. Monday morning, my boss sends me a little email that says your 411 is not complete, so we won't be talking this week. So yeah, she doesn't play. So it works. Congratulations to you for getting involved with it and committing to it. If there's any questions or anything I can help you with, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon.
And if you see the FedEx guy, I really need him.
Did you? So you heard that, right? Her boss requires a 401. Now, interestingly, because we're real estate agents and most of us are independent agents, we're not salaried employees. Who is our boss? We're our own boss, right? So our accountability at the end of the day is really to ourselves, not to someone else. When you get an accountability partner, and they talk about that again, I keep referencing 12-week year because it's a great book. They talk about that. You're not accountable. Accountability is not a bad thing. It's not your boss. They're not going to fire you because you didn't do your activities for the week. You're accountable to yourself because you want to be successful in business. So remember that. So go in here, go through the goal setting. Now, just quick tip, anybody who wants to use tools in command and hasn't been through the full command train, or it's been a long time, search Marty Miller YouTube, and then put in the command topic. So if it's designs, if it's goal setting, if it's contacts, if it's opportunities, it will pull up the videos. His latest version are the 5.0. So Marty Miller command, Marty Miller YouTube command 5.0 and the topic, and it should take you to videos related to the topic that you want to learn how to do more effectively.
Also the KW Region 12 YouTube channel, right?
That has the full replays. Marty Miller's are little 5, 10, 15 minute snippets on specific topics. So that's an easy way to get like I just want to see how to do this one thing. Okay, for time purposes, I just want to, I want to let you guys know that we are just about wrapping up. I wanted to show you a couple more resources. So go in here and set your goals. Now, I just found out about a great feature in Command for those of you in the coaching team or they're on a team. This is really neat because you can report your activity daily to someone else. So you go into your profile, you go into command settings. So you click here, you click on your settings, you go into command settings, activity tracking, and you turn it on. And then you set it up how you want it to work, what days you work and things like that. Then when you go on your home screen, it'll actually have, you'll get an, and also you guys are getting an email from me now that says, hey, have you logged your activity? This pops up, so every day you can actually account to yourself. What did you do? So how was it? Did you have a good day? How much time did you spend finding new clients today? This is like, in command, you have to go into, I'll help you on that. You have to go, yeah, you have to go into command settings and then turn on activity tracking. Now, I did this because it's Pro Coach A. I honestly don't know if it works if you're not on a team, I would think it would, but mine's set up under Pro Coach A. It's really designed to have you account to your team member. But I honestly don't know. David Donaldson just showed it to me, so I don't know if it actually has individual. And so what happens is you go in and you just kind of answer these questions. And it's like, really, did you do the activity every day? So you could do something similar to this. It's like checking off the things on your 411. So I wanted to show you that. I showed you guys where to find the electronic 411. You have the activity tracking.
Do you know if you can see that in command? Like if somebody wanted to look back and say, I wonder how I did in June with my activity tracking?
So then you go into reports and see if it, again, I just learned about the tool. I just wanted to share it. David Donaldson just showed it to me the other day. So I wanted to see what it looks like, but I thought that was a pretty neat tool. So so then on your goals, like, you have your database, how many contacts, your leads, your database health score. So you can go in and set your goals. You can do reports. So you can go in and run different types of reports. And that's all under this reporting tab. Emails, interestingly, I just sent out an email campaign. It tells me that I sent 344 emails. 234 were open. That's a huge open rate.
That's really good.
Only 3 weren't delivered and only 1 person unsubscribed. So I didn't get a huge reply, clicks and replies. But again, when you talk about a 36 touch, every time I send something out, if a couple hundred people are seeing my name and seeing the subject line, they're being reminded of me, even if they don't open the email. So remember, it's not about how many people open and interact with email. That's great when they do, but it's just being in front of them. So this is automated and it's every month they're getting something. They're seeing my name. They're seeing my face. I was really surprised. I just sent out the 4th of July and I was kind of shocked to see such a high open rate. That means most of them are not going into spam. Another thing that you can do is go back and call your database and ask them if they got something you sent them. And when they say no, it's like, hey, would you mind checking your spam folder? This is something great. I'd really like you. And you make sure that they're actually getting what you send them. So that way your email and all the other things you're doing, part of your 36 touch, are happening. So I wanted to just show you guys a few tools. We had one more thing that I wanted to share with you before we wrap up here. And it's in your packet there. This is for newer agents, or it could be for someone who just needs to kind of reinvigorate their business. A very successful coach shared this with me about how to get to 6 figures in your first 90 days in business. And it talks about getting a database built up to a 6-figure income comes from a 350 person database. And it talks about the activities to do on a yearly, weekly basis. And then it has additional, so this is kind of setting yourself up for success. Everyone's got a copy of this. And again, I'll email it out to you guys. And then actual activity. So remember we were talking about open houses. If you do 1 open house a week, 48. I did 25 open houses and I sold 7 homes from those 25 when I tracked them. Drew probably gets a higher percent. What do you get, Drew? If you did,
I was getting 3 per when I did them.
3 closings?
Yeah, per open house.
That's huge. So that's not the norm. But if you do 4 open houses and you sell a house if you do 4 open houses and you get a transaction from every single open house and your average transaction is 10 grand, would you say it was worth the 8 hours a week that you put into it for 10 grand? That's about what an open house takes. Your prep time, getting ready, doing it, follow up. It's about an 8-hour a week activity. And so 8 times 4 is 32. 32 hours of work for 10 grand in income. If you did that, you know, on a 40-hour work week times 4, that's 40 grand a month from, you know, doing open houses. So, I mean, it's to give you an idea of how powerful this can be. The 12 mailers. So Drew talks about that, and we're going to actually, we're going to be kicking off some activities in the office, but one of them is doing the cap item or a mailer. Send 12 emails yearly to the, so the 12 emails are like your neighborhood report or activities like that. So this gives you a list, 4 handwritten notes to your database per year, 7 per day. Some people will say, I just do 2 a day, like 10, whatever that number is, but this is a guaranteed 6-figure income activity example. You customize this to what you want to do, but these are examples of things you can do. So I shared this with everybody. And last thing I want to share with you before we wrap up here is these last 2 tying together. So I just recently read the Ninja selling book, and it actually talks a lot about the same type of topics. Things that you could hear, some examples of things you can do every day. So your daily gratitude, don't open your email first, you know, and get into doing your productive work first. Write 2 personal notes every single. Drew does that. He comes in every day, has something happen, writes a note and sends it out. That's something I want to work on. Focus on your hot and your warm list daily. You need to know who's thinking about buying or selling a house in the next 90 days, in the next year, in the next 2 years, and make sure they're going into your system. Customer service calls weekly. So that's the people that you're working with that are currently under contract, you know, so you want to have a weekly communication schedule with them. So they're not calling you, hey, what's going on with this? I haven't heard from my lender. I've already called Jay, had a conversation with him, and I'm calling you saying, hey, I just talked to Jay. Here's an update on what's going on with your loan. Here's what's happening. So customer service call, these are all things that will allow you to get more referrals and hit your goals for the year. 50 live contacts per week. That's talking to 50 people a week. So that can be in person or telephone.
So there's a lot of, if you guys are trying to create contacts, there's a lot of ideas in this book.
Yep.
Top ideas. There's every day of the month has something tied to it. So if you want to do it, then you can tie this to a Popeye. So if you're looking for ways to make more contacts, create more activities, there's a lot of ideas in this book that you can make your own, and it comes out every month.
And so this probably if you just took this book and did everything in here every day, you'd probably see sales coming into your pipeline in the next 2 months. So anything that you do, as long as you do it consistently and it's money-making activities, you'll get results. So thank you, Jay, for that. The last thing is it was talking about updating your database. So you want to be proactive with your clients too. A lot of times we put them on searches, but if you really want to show your value, you're looking at these houses, you're looking at their database, you're checking their portal, you're seeing the houses they liked, and you're looking at new stuff that comes on the market, and you're in touch with your buyers every week as to, hey, I found a few things that I think you might really like. You want to go take a look at them. Sometimes the buyers are kind of sitting back and they're looking, and you at least weekly want to be updating your database with like what they're looking at. So that's an example. And I apologize. I think I didn't share that with you guys on Zoom here, but I will send you a copy of this. And last thing is, I just want to remind you guys to use the Ford script. So when you're talking, and you all have a copy of that there, when you're trying to connect with people, ask questions, learn about their family, learn about where they live. When I'm at an open house, you know, it's like, hey folks, how are you? What brought you in today? And just like, yeah, take a look at the house and we'll chat when you get back. And it's like, oh, where do you guys live now? Where do you work? You know, how long have you lived in that house? What did you like about living over in that neighborhood? And it's when you start asking those questions, you connect with people. That Ford script isn't just for people you know, it's for people you don't know to get to know them better. So remember to use those tools. I will send this out to everyone. Before we wrap up, anything, any questions, any? Ashanti's question, can you look up FSBOs expired on MLS? Yes, you can. All right, everybody, thank you. Appreciate it. You ready to crush your goals?
Thank you,
All right,
Jeff.
thanks, Drew, for all your insight, input, and always. Our fearless leader, Jude Swirsky, everyone. Was almost the best dressed man in the room till John came.